Hey guys, welcome back in. I know I have not been on here in a minute because I have been so focused on canning a bunch of food to go into our pantry. So if you have checked out some of the short form content, I have been doing some potatoes and we're going to be doing a lot more. I have a whole bunch of tomatoes that have to get processed. I've been waiting for some of my tomatoes to start ripening and I'm really behind. But currently right now, what we're dealing with is we have, our family home is sold, where my grandparents lived before they passed away, and then my mom, and it's been a multi-generational home. They were all preppers, and so we have been moving a lot of the storage systems and all of that out to the property, along with like picnic tables, those kind of things. We need places to sit down. We're trying to build something so much bigger out there. And it's not in a fear-mongering sense. It's just we want to disconnect away from society as much as possible. We want to preserve what we think is important and be prepared for anything. And one of the things that we are doing is we have to get everything out there. And it is really heart-wrenching to know that this home, I mean, it was built in 1886. Is no longer going to be our home anymore. And it's no longer going to be in our family. And it's really sad when you go in and there's just nobody there. And it's just kind of a constant reminder. And constantly there's something else that's a burden, whether it's the taxes, the insurance, the bills to keep it so the pipes don't burst. We're down to the final days. We're down to just days away from transferring it over. So trying to go and collect as many of those memories as possible. And at night, I have been canning my heart out because I have a lot of food that I got to get preserved up. I will be, and I'm going to show you guys because it is a mess in here. I will be very honest with you right now. That's all freeze-dried food, but we're going to be moving some of my grandma's canning shelves over into that area of the room. I've ran out of room down here. I only have this shelf right behind me, and I've canned probably 200-300 jars since August, and now I need to get those jars down here. So we're gonna take a little piece of her memories and put them down here so that we can have our food, well preserved. And while those are sitting against those walls, it's so incredibly important for our family to be as prepared as possible, because we saw everything that happened in the news, with the news going on about SNAP benefits, and now those are going to be refunded or funded back. But I hope in that moment that it takes, that maybe it woke up maybe 1 million people. Maybe people opened their eyes and were like, the government's not going to save you. I need to have a little bit more, food staples on my shelf, a little bit more just in case of an emergency. It's not my place to judge anybody. I grew up on the system and I removed myself off the system at 17. And it worried me for children who are affected by hunger. If you don't understand that, coming from a place where I went through times that were really hard, and my mom was a single mom, and we had moved away from our family here, away from my grandparents, and we were on the West Coast, and we were dependent on a system. And sadly, that had its flaws. And for me, it's great as a helper for people, but there's so many people out there that just have such angry intentions. I understand that there is people who abuse the system. I've seen it. I have seen people abuse the system. But what about those people who abuse the system? They're kids. And that is something that I witnessed firsthand. The ones who sell their benefits, and then that kid actually goes hungry. And there is a lack of knowledge out there that prevents people from learning these self-sufficient and reliable methods. And that's one of the reasons why I post short form content on recipes. It's for everyone. It's not to exclude anybody. If somebody sees that and says, oh, so when I buy potatoes, I can make them shelf stable, and then instead of worrying about if the potatoes go bad in my pantry and throwing those out, the average American home waste 350 pounds of food a year. Teaching people how to make it self-sustaining, shelf-stable, something that you can come back on. You're not dependent on an expiration date. And then, of course, there's the haters that come out and they're like, botulism, botulism, botulism. We need more botulism. You're bad. Canning your own food is bad. Well, you buy all this shit. You buy it from the grocery store. You don't know how clean that processing plant is. Do I have it on my shelf? Yeah. Do I use it? Yes. I only prep the food that I use. But do I can my own green beans? Yeah. Do I can my own tuna when I go and see my in-laws in Washington? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because I know how clean my kitchen is and I know my process is safe. We need to take the fear out of being self-sustaining. We need to take away the whole like, oh, botulism. I tell you how many times I hear about that. I mean, somebody's already on, I just posted a video literally an hour ago of what I've been doing for the last couple of days. And somebody came in clutching their pearls. And it was a guy named Cowboy, which was wild. It was wild. We have to teach our kids better. We have to give them the knowledge, whether it's cooking something from scratch, knowing what shelf stable is, being prepared for blackouts, grid downs, EMPs. These are all things that our government prepares for. Why is it so impossible for other people, the normies, of people thinking, oh, they're crazy. They're preparing for everything. Your government prepares for it. So why is it so impossible for other people to realize that here we are? You know, people used to be more self-sufficient. A garden wasn't unheard of. There wasn't regulations if you had a garden in your backyard. Government comes in and all of a sudden, you know, you got these fancy HOAs and you got this fancy area. I'm going to be really honest with you. We just had an election for a mayor in our town. The one we wanted to win lost. And it sucks. And the one who won wants to put homeless encampments next to our kids' school. Yeah, we're leaving. Just so you guys all know, we are leaving. We're going to end up going to our property. And that is where our focus is right now is, you know, preserving as much food as possible, getting everything ready. We want to rent this house out and we want to go. And so getting the well dug is number one priority. Homeless encampments next to elementary schools and the high school. That's odd. Then also they want to work more with these mass land developers. When we moved here, there was literally farms everywhere around us. This same mayor spoke deals for and approvals for these high density housings to come in. Within the last 4 years, it is just slammed over here. We don't even have a restaurant in our town that we can go sit down and eat and have dinner, but we have extreme high density housing. They're trying to sell out all the land around. Everyone around here that has farms is like, what do we do? How do we change this? And for us, we decided, you know what, we want to step away. We want to leave. We're done. We don't want to see what's going to continue to happen down here. And so it is our objective right now is to get that land ready as fast as possible and to prepare as much as possible, because we all know things are happening constantly. Honestly, I think it's pushing, you know, this agenda of build, 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 more. And they like to shame the farmers, but then they like to complain and say that there's no food, so we have to import it, of course, right? No, because we have to punish the farmers and punish the people who are self-sufficient, because if you're self-sufficient and you are a prepper, the number one thing you guys all know is if you want to give the middle finger to the government, be as self-sustaining as possible. So as always, stay aware, stay prepared, and always have your head on a swivel. Careful now with canning. You might get botulism. I've been doing this for 37 years. I've never had botulism. Safe practices. You'll do great things. I'll catch you on the next one.